Called to a residence where a teen was shot in front of the residence by a homeowner. The teen was transported to a local hospital for his injuries. The homeowner was taken into custody and placed on a 24-hour investigative hold. Detectives and crime scene personnel immediately responded, processed the scene, and recovered the firearm. After consulting with the Clay County Prosecutor's Office, the homeowner was released pending further investigation due to the need to obtain a formal statement from the victim, forensic evidence, and compile additional information for a case file to be presented. A formal statement is planned and forthcoming as a teen's injuries allow. A person can be held up for 24 hours for investigation of a felony, at which time they're required by Missouri law to be charged or released. The vast majority of cases, to include violent crime, involve the suspect being released pending further investigation. In this case, the prosecutor requires more information from investigators that would take more than 24 hours to compile. Throughout the weekend, investigators have worked to gather requested information and details. They have been in touch with the prosecutors. As soon as the case is complete, it will be presented to the Clay County prosecutors for their review. We recognize the frustration this can cause in the entire criminal justice process. The women and men of the Kansas City Police Department are working as expeditiously and as thoroughly as we can to ensure the criminal justice process continues to advance as quickly as all involved and our community deserve. Detectives have been working over the past several days to compile a detailed case file so they have all the information they need to make the best charging decision on the case moving forward. We want the community to know that we are committed to justice in this case and every case, and work every day to seek that justice for all victims of all crimes. Investigators have been in touch with the family of the victim in this case and updated them on the status of the investigation and the process moving forward. I want everyone to know that I'm listening, and I understand the concern that we are receiving from the community. Do you have any questions? Let me get them.
Sure. I'll be brief, and then certainly we'll get your questions for you. I came to stand with the chief, the prosecutor today, and others here at the department to make sure people know that there is a thorough investigation underway now. There will be a thorough review in the prosecutor's office, and that as with every case that comes through Kansas City, we will make sure we do all we can to be fair, to make sure that we're as expeditious as possible, and more than anything, to make sure that everyone, no matter their background, knows that justice can be obtained here in Kansas City. My heart goes out to the victim of this shooting, the victim's family. My heart goes out to everyone who was impacted, of course, by this incident and the unfortunate too high number of incidents that we have had in our community over recent days and certainly over recent years. I know that this chief cares greatly about making sure that victims and that the people of our community know that there is always a thorough and full investigation. That's why the chief is here, so many from the department are here, the prosecutor's here this Sunday afternoon. We have many more people that you don't see who are working hard right now to make sure that there is a full and thorough file that can be presented to the prosecutor's office. And from there, I know the police department and all involved in the criminal justice system will make sure that we're all listening, that we're working hard to uphold the principles of justice in this community and to make sure that there's fairness throughout. As a parent, I certainly feel for the mother of the victim and others in the family. My heart goes out to them. I too have reached out, and we look forward to making sure that we have further opportunities not just to visit with them in connection with this investigation, but to make sure that the juvenile impacted has all the resources available in Kansas City to be supported, to hopefully have a full recovery, and more than anything know that we care about them in the same way that I know so many in the community do. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chief.
All right, I'll take any questions.
Yeah, Chief Graves and everyone, thank you for doing this on a Sunday. I'm sure you're aware there's a protest happening not far
Yes.
from here. With that being said, does this appear racially motivated in any way?
The information that we have now, it does not say that it's racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case. I do recognize and understand the community's concern and the community's response to this particular incident.
Can you say how many times the young man was shot and if he was shot in the head?
I cannot say that.
Is there any kind of self-defense rules at play here as far as stand your ground, castle doctrine, anything like that?
That's a potential.
What about for the prosecutor? Could he take that?
So, my goal in this whole process is to protect the integrity of the criminal process. Because of that, I can't really comment about the details of the case, but I can say that the prosecutor's office is working closely with the Kansas City Police Department and those affected by this crime to make sure that everyone affected by the circumstances receives justice.
Chief Graves, what more information are you all looking for in this investigation? You said that you still needed to gather.
Well, first and foremost, we've got to get a formal statement from the victim. You know, we've been unable to do that just due to his injuries. So moving forward, that's something that we're hoping to accomplish today. It was already planned for another day, very soon, but we're trying to expeditiously pursue everything that's needed in this process.
Apologies if you already updated his condition. How is it looking?
We don't really have any updates right now other than I believe that he's stable, and we're looking forward to having the opportunity to go ahead and take a statement from him. I don't want to share too much information as a juvenile victim, so I don't want to share too much info, but I think it's stable at this time.
You said you were hoping to get that statement today, Chief?
Yes, again, that's why I'm looking to our Violent Crimes Division major. There's a lot of information, that, because it's an ongoing investigation that we shouldn't talk about at this point. I want to be fair and transparent in this whole process, but unfortunately there are some questions that I'm not able to answer, and specifically to the sensitive nature that this is a juvenile victim involved.
As far as the 24-hour hold, is there a concern at all that the shooter may be a flight risk?
That's no, that's not a concern.
They're cooperating?
That is cooperating, and we have taken that into consideration. That is something that we look at, but obviously, even in this situation, there is more that we need to glean from that incident to put that together for a prosecutorial review.
Let me speak briefly to your
Okay.
first question, Russell, and the question related to racial dynamics as it relates to this case and some of the discussion that's occurring now. Part of the reason I think you see the department here and speaking is, one, to make clear, in perhaps ways different from the past, that is understood. I know that there are officers who are present actually at the community event now, and not there as security, not there to defend homes, instead there to listen and to engage with the people who are there, the people who have concerns. In many ways, we're all trying our best to make sure that people understand that we are listening, and further understand that the department is listening in every situation where any circumstances may come up that impact race or other dynamics in our community. I will also say this, I fully expect from the folks to my right and left a full and thorough investigation of this incident. I believe there are a number of folks who are working on this case now. This is not something that has been dismissed, marginalized, diminished in any way. This is something that is getting the full attention of the Kansas City Police Department. And while tragically not the only shooting last week in Kansas City, it's one that is getting substantial attention. And so I know I've heard from press reports and accounts, many discussions of the juvenile at issue. That's not our position to share information about the juvenile, but I know there are others who are sharing it. That's why I just note our heart goes out to the juvenile victim, and more than anything, to make sure that this child and this child's family knows that there are people working hard, a number of people working hard, to make sure there is justice for this person. And that would exist whether the victim is black, white, Latino, whatever background. This department is doing the best it can to make sure that justice can be found for the juvenile and for everyone involved in this situation.
Chief Graves, is there any sort of Ring doorbell video or any sort of media that you guys are reviewing within this case?
That would speak more to the evidence in the case, and it's still an ongoing investigation. But if there was something in any case where it would move the case along quicker, that would have been something that would have been considered.
Is there anything that the community can do as people are watching from around the city right now to aid you all in your
If someone does have any kind of Ring door camera or any kind of video, obviously contact our Violent Crimes Division. And also, something that I would like people to know is that just exactly what the mayor said. You do have a police department that is listening, that cares, and we take all of these cases seriously.
Good.
Did the homeowner call 911?
Can I say that?
We won't speak to any of those details just because that's part of the ongoing investigation. We just want to make sure that we don't compromise anything so that when the case does get to the prosecutor's office, they can look at it with fair and objective eyes, so we won't speak to that.
Thank you guys for all being here on a Sunday afternoon. I appreciate it. I want you to know how important this is to myself, to Mayor Lucas, and also the Clay County Prosecutor's Office. So thank you very much for being here on such a short notice. I appreciate it. This is important to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Running a business